Welcome to Choices to Consequences. This is my third video episode. So I interviewed Dave, I interviewed Rianne, and now I'm interviewing...
I'm Jen, I'm the Detective Sergeant for the Choices to Consequences programme.
So basically that means the boss. And you know what, let me just jump straight into that question. It goes Dave and it goes us as criminals, candidates, clients. Then it's obviously Dave, Rianne, Gemma, and then it goes from them to you, is that right?
Yeah.
And then above you is what or who?
So we've got
I mean, who's the head honcho where it all stops? Decision is theirs.
Well, so in terms of decisions about who comes onto the programme,
Right.
the head honcho as such is Judge Wood.
Okay.
So kind of above me, there's no one within the police that really has a say as to who comes on.
Okay.
We've got a detective inspector. But
I mean, what I'm trying to get at, sorry to cut you off, is like Adele's position. Who's
yeah. So she's kind of in charge of me, in charge of our team as a whole, but she doesn't get too involved in the decision process.
Yeah, I mean, the time she was here, I think I only met her like twice.
Yeah.
And that was at some event, and then once at court. She wasn't really on the ground hands-on, was she?
No.
Right.
And that's, that kind of level wouldn't generally be
right.
hands-on.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning with yourselves then. When did you become a police officer? How long have you been a police officer?
So I've been a police officer for 9 years. I started in 2015, but I was police staff for a while before that. So I've actually worked for Herts Police for nearly 15 years.
Okay, were you on the beat, like a normal copper on the beat for a while?
Yeah, so I did about 2.5 years on the beat, and then I went to do the sort of detective pathway.
Right, and that's exams and that, you've got to take?
Yeah, you do an exam and then you have to evidence that you can investigate crime, basically.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, and is that something you're selected to do, or you can just put your hand up and say yes?
No, that's something that you can choose to do. Obviously, you might have bosses that say, do you know what, I think you'd be good for this role. Right. But it was something I wanted to do.
Okay, and so how long have you been, or what made you come over to C2? Let's start there.
So I'd spent a long time on the other side of it, so working to kind of get people convicted. Of crimes that they've committed. People,
just make it sound simple. Yeah. Arresting and prosecuting.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
So I did a while in our domestic abuse unit.
Okay.
And then I saw that we were kind of seeing the same people coming time and time again.
As in criminals.
Yeah. And I knew Dave because we'd worked together for a bit before, and he would tell me how great C2 was.
Oh.
And then when the opportunity came up, I wanted to see what it was all about and have a go at trying to rehabilitate people.
Brilliant. So how long have you actually been with C2? Were you on the ground like Dave and Rianne were at first, and then you got promoted, or did you jump in straight out where you are?
So I jumped into C2 as a DS.
As a boss, basically. Yeah. Okay, and so that is what, how many years now? Sorry, how many years?
So I've been on C2 since April last year, so not that long really.
Oh, I thought it was longer than that. So I came out in March. So basically the amount of time I've been on it, you've been on it. Yeah. So what, 15 months, 16 months, something like that? Okay, I didn't know that. I thought you'd been there a lot longer. Like Dave. I mean, Dave's been with C2 for a long time. How many years? 10. Sorry, I need to take this back. Dave, do you want to pop your head in camera and just say hello? The handsome Dave. I mean, you know, my bad, my apologies. I should have done that in the beginning. But yeah, that's Dave on the camera. Right, I'm going to do an exercise with you here.
Okay.
So imagine, right, I'm a criminal. I've got burglary, shoplifting, so on and so forth. I've never heard of C2. You sell C2 to me.
Okay.
Go.
So C2 is a rehabilitative programme. We've got dedicated staff from the police, probation, CGL that all want to work with prolific, acquisitive offenders to kind of change their life around and make them in the best position possible to live a clean life, if that's the right word. It gives you the opportunity to admit all of your past offending, which, although that does present some risk in that if you fall off the programme, you can be sentenced for the entirety of that offending, but it does mean that you come out with a clean slate and you're not kind of looking over your shoulder.
For sure,
The good thing about C2 is that you get daily support from the police officers. We give you a full timetable of stuff to kind of get you into different hobbies.
Activities.
So stuff like fishing, tennis, cooking, carpentry, and as part of that you can get qualifications as well. You don't come out until we've got accommodation set up for you, so you know you're coming out to somewhere that's secure and safe for you to be.
Very important.
We have you set up with a script if that's something that you need, and all of your appointments with the professionals that are going to support you in that journey. So it's, you know, kind of once in a lifetime opportunity for someone like yourself, and you know, not everybody gets offered it, so it's, you know, definitely a worthwhile opportunity.
And you put it right, because it is like a once in a lifetime opportunity. I know there's some offenders that have fallen off a bit and they've been put back in for, you know, just shake them up for a month, just get their mind right. But you are right, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I see the progress. I've seen the progress myself in, I can't really say his name, but another guy who's on the C2, he hasn't been on it as long as me, but in the beginning he was standoffish, didn't really want to partake in any groups, wasn't really going to any groups really, and his drug tests were, you know, not so good. But over the last few months, I've seen a huge change, a huge difference in him. He's really come into his lane, you know, and that's a nice thing to see. And I'm not saying I haven't seen it with the others, but he really standds out. His name begins with R, we'll just leave it there. You know who I'm on about. And do you agree?
Yeah, I do agree with you. Yeah,
I think he's come a long way.
And that's one of the best things about our job, is seeing that progression from someone who comes out and is really unsure.
Right.
And ultimately you've got to trust us,
100%,
because it's a big change for you to be going from the police being someone that's arresting you,
the enemy,
to then being someone that's actually saying, do you know what, I want to help you.
I think that was one of the, I wouldn't say hardest things. Do you know what it is? You get, it's a hard thing in the sense you get a lot of abuse from other offenders. Like there was a time when if you went on C2, you got labelled a grass. I know it's not as much now, but I've been there when conversations have taken place that, oh, he's working with the police, giving up information and saying this and saying that. And that's not the case. For a while I thought it was that. I mean, until I got offered it. And I thought it was, how can you go and work with them and how can you work with the police? And I've said it in talks and I've said it in my other podcasts, that you've got to totally surrender yourself to the police, and it's a hard thing to do when you've looked at them as the enemy for so many years. You know, you are basically putting all your trust in their hands. And for a while it was like I said, people say, oh, you're grassing, you're giving them information. And the other thing was this, if you mess up, you're going to get in trouble for all those crimes that you gave them, the TICs, I mean. And having that over your head, it's a hard thing. But I will say this, if you approach C2, you know, wholeheartedly, as in you really want to change and really want to do well, having that over your head, it's not really a heavy thing, because if you're going to mess about, then yeah, it is. You're going to be worried, will I get nicked, won't I get nicked, will I go back to jail? But like I said, if you give it your all, it's not really, it doesn't put you off, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think it's the way you think about that being over your head. You don't think of it as this is going to really mess me up. Or actually, this is what's going to help motivate me to do well.
And it was the latter that helped me.
Switching that mindset.
Yeah, but that's the hardest thing, I think. Like yourselves, like Dave, and when they go and see someone in jail and they do like a vetting process to say, is he, will he, won't he, sort of thing. I think that decision that yourselves make, look, you can't get it right all the time. And you could get a perfect client who you think on paper is perfect, and they won't perform. And then the other way around, you can get a guy that's like, a bit half and half, but he really performs. And to tell you the truth, I don't think there's any way of vetting someone that you're 100% sure. You know, any questions you ask, the hoops they've got to jump through, you will never know if they're going to do well or not. How can you know? So what is as a manager, what is your role? Like, I know like Dave takes us to groups and we do all these things and activities and drug tests. What do you actually do? I'm not trying to say you don't know. What is your role?
So the team, as you know, will visit people in custody that have been arrested for certain offences.
Right.
And they'll have a chat with that person. If they are interested in C2, they'll let me know.
Right.
I then research that person and look at their past offending.
Oh, that falls to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
To see whether I think there's someone that could be suitable. So someone that's got a really violent history may not be appropriate.
No.
So after I've done my research, I put them forward to probation, and then I do a joint meeting with probation and that person.
Right.
And we call it a lifestyle interview, which is basically where we take them to the bare bones of their life, about their childhood.
Okay.
We talk about what their childhood was like, what their kind of criminal past has been like, their history with drugs, substance misuse, that sort of thing. And then I also speak to them about what the programme actually involves and lay it on the line for them as to what's going to be expected, and make it clear that they know it's not an easy thing, and that they're in it for kind of 4 years really.
Right.
And then after that, me and the probation officer will have a discussion about whether we think that person's right for the programme. Okay, and that whole process is, what we talking, months, weeks? That could take a month to 2 months maybe. Yeah, because mine was quite quick. Yeah. From me getting arrested, put on remand in Scrubs, from that point to me getting out, it was January the 13th till March the 24th. So we're talking 3 months, 3 and a bit months, which is quite quick turnaround, because my TICs weren't really complicated. There was a lot of them, but they were like straightforward. Yeah. I think, like you're saying, that, what was it, lifestyle interview? Yeah. I think that is like a hard job, man, because look, if they mess up, does it fall on you, or is it like a shared blame, you and probation? I wouldn't say the blame sits anywhere. Okay. I would say we're giving people an opportunity. Yeah. And we can try our hardest to make that work. For some people it does, and some people it doesn't, and I wouldn't say that's, anyone's at fault in particular for that. So yeah. Okay, so overall, like C2's really worked for me, and I've said it so many times. It is proper changed my life. I see it. I mean, I don't like praise, but I see it. My family see it. Yourselves. But overall, I mean, you know the numbers, you know the stats. Does C2 work? And before you answer, can you not give me the answer that says, well, if the guy wants to try, then yeah, it will work? Without me being rude, can you answer it, and does it work? Does it overall, does C2 work? It does. We don't have a particularly high percentage of people that will successfully complete the programme. Is that because of the length of the programme, do you think? Partly, yeah, it's a long time. It is a long time, yeah, for sure. A lot of restrictions are put on you guys. Yeah. And for some people, that's, they just struggle with that. And that, that's no criticism of them. Right. Of those that have successfully completed it, my understanding is none of them have then ever gone on to commit any other acquisitive crime. Yeah. So that is a big success. Of course it is. Of those who don't successfully complete it, because their offending is managed over a number of years. Right. For a lot of them, their overall offending decreases as well. Oh, okay. So even though they've not successfully completed it, yeah. So if they leave while they're on the programme, obviously their offending's less, but when they leave, they still get
they still take away something from the C2.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that was one of the things that, I mean, opened my eyes, is just the general like living, hygiene, structure, routine in your day. You know, the general things that maybe the normal straight head person thinks it's just a normal thing and takes for granted. Offenders struggle with it because it's a lifestyle we've never had, never been used to. 99% of us have never worked, never had a job, never had a reason to be up, unless it was something to do with drugs or money. I think that's the hardest bit. And when I look at other clients, myself included, uh, and you see that structure and routine implemented in their day to day, when they start getting hold of that and basically conquering that, the basics, the rest just falls into place.
Yeah.
Do you not think that's the case? It all just links and everything just becomes a whole package.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we get quite a lot of people that don't succeed, they go back to prison and serve their time.
Right.
But when they come out, they reach out to the team.
Okay,
So
well, that's
that
nice.
speaks volumes.
Yeah,
of
that's
the
nice.
support they've had. And we do have other people that say, do you know what, the timetable really worked
Yeah,
for me, and
yeah,
they ask for
yeah.
that to be
Listen,
done again.
it worked for me.
Yeah, so it definitely does have an impact whether people succeed or not.
Okay, I would say that is so true. And like we were saying, down to that timetable, doing activities every day, from around 10 in the morning till 2, and then having an appointment, so let's say it's probation or CGL, and just checking in and doing those things are very important. Brings me to my other point, which is this. My own journey, I've now hit a point, and I remember asking Dave this question. I said, Dave, in the whole C2 program, the 3.5, 4 years that people are on it, when do people start falling off? And it's around the year and a half mark. And I feel that, look, I'm not saying I'm going to fall off, God forbid, I'm not saying that, but I've got to a stage where it's monotonous. It's like, oh God, same thing, the novelty's worn off, it's the same thing every day, the same faces, and I need like a little turbo boost in my energy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, I shouldn't really be selfish in talking about myself on a podcast, but it's very important because it can affect my whole C2. I mean, I put in a lot of work and I don't want to lose that. What advice can you give me, or even give the others that do the C2, that when it reaches a point where you're like, oh God, here we go, boredom, and like I said, the novelty's worn off, what advice can you give that person to stay consistent and just battle it through?
So, firstly, I think the fact you're really honest about that is a good thing, because it means that we as a team can talk about that and find other things. I think for you in particular, perhaps we need to look at what else we can put you into. So maybe the cooking and the Emmaus and stuff, maybe that's not right for you anymore.
No, it was, and it is, but it's got
you need
very,
a bit more of a challenge.
that's
maybe.
right, that's right.
So yeah, I think it's when you get to that point, you need to be honest and tell us.
Recognise it.
Yeah, and then we can sit with you and say, right, what is it? What's your next goal? Where do you see the next 6 months going?
Right. Okay.
What's that going to be for you?
Okay. I do you know what? I've got to break it down even smaller than that, because when you're in recovery, I'll be honest with you, 6 months is a bit far. I need mini goals, like next month, within 2 months, maybe 3 at a push. Anything more than that, it's just like, oh, forget it.
Yeah.
Because we've done that, or I've done it so many times in the past, and where the goals are so unachievable, you flop.
Yeah.
And then you're disheartened because you think, oh well, I couldn't achieve it, waste of money, waste of time, waste of effort, fuck it.
Yeah.
Excuse my swearing, but that is what we think. Me myself, I think I need, how do I say it, like extracurricular activities, like the university talk, the school talk. Side note, went very well, didn't it, Jenny?
It's going really well.
Dave was there, Dave was panicking more than anyone. No, he wasn't. Dave was steadfast. I don't know how he was eating and drinking. I couldn't even drink water. I was so scared. Was it Mrs. Wilcox, the lady there, lovely woman, and yourselves support, helped me get through it. and it went well, didn't it?
Yeah, we had some really good feedback.
Yeah, and I was really, really happy about that. But things like that to keep me, little mini things that, keep me interested, keep me motivated, keep me going. I think I need those things outside of the normal timetable.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I want to be a peer mentor, end goal. That is my end goal. And those sorts of things really, really help. So those sorts of activities, those extracurricular things, uni, school, so on and so forth, how do they come across your desk? Like, does someone just say, oh, by the way?
Yeah, so usually it's someone coming into us and saying, we've heard about C2.
And when you say people, sorry, I'm sorry to cut you off, you mean people like other officers or public, Joe Public?
So for the school, it was the school that came to me.
Directly?
So, yeah,
Oh, wow.
I'd heard about
Oh,
C2
wow.
and wanted someone to
Okay.
come talk. But, now that went so well and you found you really enjoyed that in the end.
I did, in the end,
In the end. Maybe we could look at branching that out and offering it to other schools and saying, look, we've done this here.
Right.
It went really well.
Right.
Would you like us to come and do it so that we're kind of spreading the word?
And as C2, are your hands tied in any way, as in school, you're taking offenders? Because we are albeit ex-offenders, but we are offenders. I mean, if the police weren't there, I don't think we'd be even allowed in the school. Is there, some legal bit there that you have to battle with, or bit of red tape you've got to cut through, or is it just, I make the decision and it's done?
I imagine it's down to like the school's risk assessments.
Right.
And as you say, you wouldn't just be able to walk in there and do it off your own back.
No.
You were kind of with us the whole time.
Yeah, I think I've got to be escorted by one of you or both of you.
Yeah, and at that particular school we had to put all our details in, so they knew
I remember.
have a photo and all that sort of thing. So yeah, as long as it's kind of controlled like that, then that would be the way we do it.
That would be okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so when it comes to the C2 and the activities, and big shout out to Hackrow, by the way.
Yeah, they're doing
excellent
amazing
work they do.
Yeah.
Very supportive. They've been with us all the way. Big shout out to Tony. We have to, because he does do a lot.
Yeah, he does.
What would you like to see change wise? I'll tell you what I would like. I would like some sort of group or some sort of activity where it's just our boys, just us C2 lads, not the other side of the office.
Yeah.
When I say the other side of the office, I mean
IOM.
Okay, so not them. What do they actually do?
So it's a similar concept to C2, but it's not as intense.
Right.
There's 3 different levels. You get people that have to work with us.
Right.
And then you get some that are kind of more on a voluntary basis.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, generally they're prolific offenders, but not potentially as prolific as
C2
you guys that are on C2.
Okay, so there's no, like, we got 3.5, 4 year course. They haven't got that.
No.
Is it just the judge saying, right, you've got 12 months with them or 8 months with them?
No, it depends on sort of how long they're on licence for, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's different for everybody.
Yeah, like I said, I'd like to have some sort of group where it's just us. Have a talk between ourselves, because at times I struggle. I mean, people think I've got it all together, and I really haven't. I find it so hard sometimes. And vice versa, others might. So it would be nice for us to get together and talk between ourselves and give each other support, and give each other feedback on, oh, you're struggling, oh, you've been 4 months in when I was 4 months in, blah blah blah. And I might look to someone who's been in there a year and a half, 2 years longer than myself, and I might ask them the question I asked you, like, what do you do when you hit the brick wall and it's all boring and slow and you need something to pick it up? What do you do? I think we could benefit for that, for sure.
Yeah.
Just a side note, another side note. I spoke to another officer who's on C2, name begins with G, female, not hard to work out. And would it be, I said, do coffee morning or a morning or even an afternoon, just us C2 lads. I don't know if it's come across your desk yet, but something like that I would like, an hour just between ourselves. I think that'd be really beneficial, and I know I'd benefit from it, and I know the others would benefit from it, because there might be something they're scared to ask or scared to do. Uh, but when you say it to a whole group and not specifically to them, it might answer a question in their head that they've always wanted to ask, but a bit worried about coming forward. So yeah, with you, what change would you like to see? I went on a bit of a rant there, I apologise. What change would you like to see? What change would you like to implement and do that you can do, as in, because you've got a lot of power in your hands, you can do and move a lot of parts, you can. What could you do? What would you like to do?
I think your suggestion is a really good idea, because the only time you all get together really
Friday
is,
morning.
well, not even that, because not everybody comes on a
Oh,
Friday morning, do
there
they?
you go.
But it's court really,
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
and there's not really that opportunity
No.
there for you to have that kind
No.
of chat. And yeah, I think you're right. It would be good to get you all together as a group, in a relaxed setting where you can just talk things through.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. It would be nice to get that, like you said, beneficial. Anything else you'd like to see changed or taken away or added?
I think it would be good if we could look at taking on different crime types.
Really?
I mean, you're obviously a bit of a test
Yeah.
case.
But the borders have opened up quite a bit. Do you not think? I mean, gang carrying. What are they? Do you want to just run through them?
So we're still we don't really take on anyone that's in gangs, not for C2.
Okay,
so,
but there's burglaries, commercial and dwelling,
yeah, theft of motor vehicles,
theft of motor vehicles, shoplifting.
Yeah.
In bulk, I mean loads.
Yeah, where you're looking at getting a long time.
Yeah. And go on.
But you're the first
Yes.
drug supplier.
Yes, drugs.
So I'd like to maybe see more people like yourself having the opportunity.
Okay.
And yeah.
Knife carrying, isn't that one? I heard it was. I don't know. Is it?
Yeah, in our department we do manage. We call them habitual knife carriers.
Right.
So we do manage them.
Right.
But they don't come under C2.
Okay. So it is still quite closed then. I thought it really opened up. I know I was a test subject, but I really thought it was gangs and carrying knives and supply of drugs and all those sorts of things. I thought it really opened up, but it hasn't really, has it? It's still quite restricted. What sort of crimes, like you said, so more people supplying, you'd like that in there. Do you know the thing with that? What I think, Jen, the thing with that is this. A lot of people that supply drugs aren't necessarily users of drugs. It was just that my habit was so huge, I couldn't fund it by doing what I was shoplifting and burglaries. I had to supply it to feed my habit. I didn't make a penny, I just fed my habit. And a lot of people that do supply drugs, they're not necessarily users of drugs. So C2, would it be the right thing for them, or do you think with them it's a straight, go and do 7 years, see you later, bye?
I think it depends on their situation, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, for sure. Yeah, of course it does.
Some people you're not going to change that mindset, because as you say, they're in it for the money. They're not funding anything else. But there will be others like you that
supply for their habit.
And could do with the help. And kind of in terms of other stuff, not necessarily under C2, but maybe something similar. It would be good to have something for people that commit domestic abuse offences.
Oh, for sure, but you've got to tread lightly with domestic abuse because some hostels, they don't take domestic abuse and they don't take arson.
Yeah.
So if you were to do that, wouldn't it be a bit tricky, like trying to get them housed? Yeah.
So that would be, I don't know whether that would ever be something considered in the future.
But you'd like to see that.
Yeah, I think that's another area where we really need to look at rehabilitation.
And just lastly, like you said, you'd like to see domestic abuse people come on it, and I get that. But I asked Rianne this question, and I'm going to ask you, being a female, women, why is there no women? And there's women criminals out there, I know some. I think they're still about. Why? I think they are. It's been so long. But where are they? What is going on?
So I think part of it is that they aren't necessarily committing the type of crime that would see them get the length of sentence that C2 would normally attract.
Well, yeah, but now that the borders have opened up, surely there must be women that fall in that category, surely.
potentially. Again, we've approached quite a few.
Have you
things.
approached?
Yeah, we have approached.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know. Dave signalling 5.
We've had 5 females on C2.
On C2, or you've approached?
No, on C2, and none of them made it to the finish line, unfortunately.
But in saying that, what you're saying, just quickly, it wasn't that C2 back then's a lot different to C2 now. So if they were on it now, would they have more chance of succeeding? Because I remember C2 being described to me by inmates 8-9 years ago, and the way they described it is nothing like what is happening on the ground with me now.
1 female was on it early days. The other 4 females were on it probably within the last 5 years when it was evolving to where we are now.
Right. Okay. Well, I think that'd be a good thing to see them, man. Honestly, because they need help just as much as the next man, and I think it would be a good thing. Right. Lastly, is there anything else you would like to say? I think no, you go ahead first, and then I'll chime in. Anything else you'd like to say? Anything else you'd like to mention? No. There's got to be something. We can't send it like that, Dilly. Something. Think of something. I don't know. Nice TV. Dave's nice new Nike boots he's got on. Yeah. Anything.
No, I think I just obviously need to say that the team worked really hard to support you guys.
Yeah.
Which I'm always really grateful for.
Yes.
And I know you guys are as well.
I am very much so. I am very thankful for the team, for the support. I get a lot of support from Dave. Like I said, I'm really thankful to him because I've known him for such a long time, and he knows me, and he rings me after hours. He gives me that support, and it really means a lot to me.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm very thankful for that. I'm thankful for yourselves, for the decisions, for the support, like I said. And that goes with CGL, and that goes with probation as well. So overall, thank you to all of that support, and the Haven.
Yeah.
And the Haven. Dave, anything else you'd like to add, or?
No, it's nothing further I wish to add or clarify.
Okay, all right, I'm stopping the tape on this. Okay, listen, thank you very much for listening. Like I said, this is my 3rd video podcast. It will go on audio as well on Spotify. So thank you very much. Choices to consequences, and stay tuned.